Alright everyone, the list you have been waiting for because the internet loves negativity. I'm the Kaiju no Kami and this is my worst movies of 2018.
Number 10.
Kicking off this list is Solo, a Star Wars story. The only bad Star Wars movie to me is a boring Star Wars movie, and Solo was downright boring. My expectations for the film were already so low, and I still hated this movie. There are a couple of genuine good parts in the film, but ultimately none of it is relevant when I am just left bored. When I walk into a Star Wars film, the last thing I expect is something uninspiring. Donald Glover, you are the reason this movie is number 10 and not much higher on the list. So give yourself some props there.
Number 9.
A few years ago, Ex Machina was my favorite movie of that year, so I expected so much more from Annihilation. What I got was, again like Solo, a boring snooze fest. The movie did not know what it wanted to be, it did not feel like it knew what it wanted to be. I wasn't sure what the hell was going on. I don't even think the actors really knew what was going on. There was just a lot of dead air in this movie at times. Things were just happening to happen and it was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Sure, why not? I'll go with that. Okay, sure. Okay, fine. Whatever. With an ending that was like, yeah, it was kind of cool from a technical standpoint, but from a plot standpoint, this is stupid. For what I expected to be a groundbreaking movie, I got just another snooze fest. Actually, I'm going to warn you right now. You're going to hear the words bored a lot on this list. It's going to be quite redundant at times, but that's the nature of this list.
Number 8.
I wasn't sure the next movie on my list was going to make the list because it wasn't exactly a bad movie per se. It had a lot of great ideas, but ultimately I skipped out on a lot of bad movies this year, which is why also Winchester is on this list. Another boring as hell movie that couldn't be salvaged by the really top-notch actors it has, the interesting concept it has, and it's just poorly executed to the point where you're like, when is this thing going to end? Although it moves faster than some of the other movies on this list.
Number 7.
Jurassic Park, The Lost World. Jurassic World, The Fallen Kingdom. This movie started out kind of interesting where they had to go back to the island to retrieve the dinosaurs because the island was going to blow up. They had to go and gather their cast members from the last movie and bring in new ones and bring them to the island. And then end up becoming The Lost World 2.0. Then they take the dinosaurs off the island. And then the movie just kept going. And then it left off to be continued for the next movie. Because heaven forbid they make a movie that doesn't rely on the sequel to sell the movie.
Number 6.
Do you like giant monster movies? Cool. Do you want to make giant monster movies? Cool. If you're going to make a giant monster movie though, do not make a giant monster movie like Pacific Rim 2. Ugh. What can I really say about this movie other than it was exactly like Independence Day Revelations? It has this huge time jump with the characters. It killed characters off screen. It kills some of the old characters right at the beginning of the movie, just like Independence Day Revelations. And the whole thing is just garbage. None of the Jaegers in this movie were really all that interesting except for this really tiny ball one. There was no character development whatsoever. The Kaijus weren't even all that interesting. The whole plot revolving around the Kaijus was so friggin' stupid.
Number 5.
If you watch my best of list, you know that I will say 2018 was a really good year for horror movies. Unfortunately, not every movie that came out this year was really good. As I found out with Truth or Dare. This movie was just a stupid-ass concept. This demon makes people play Truth or Dare. If they say they're going to do Truth, they have to tell the truth or they die. If they say Dare, they have to actually do what they are dared or they die. It sounds like it could have been a cool concept, but it's executed so poorly. And like, there's this one character, he's gay, but his father, who's a cop, doesn't know he's gay because apparently his father is really big on these Christian values or some crap like that. The demon tells him he has to tell the truth to his dad. Do they go and have like this really big emotional scene of when this kid goes and tells his dad that he's gay? No, it cuts to the other characters talking, and then this kid walks up to his friends and is like, yeah, so the demon made me tell my dad the truth about being gay, and that's how they went about it. That's it. He was basically gay in the movie just to have a gay person in the movie to say, hey, look, we're having a gay person. You should like our movie. Yay! But then again, the rest of the movie was pretty bad too. The scenes are just so stupid. The dares could have been interesting, but instead they're dumb, they're boring, the acting is bad, the actors clearly didn't give a damn about the movie they were in. It was just so friggin' dumb.
Number 4.
The Strangers, Prey at Night. Now, I really enjoyed the first Strangers. It was an interesting concept. I liked the uniqueness with these characters that came on, that they just wanted to torture these people for the sake of torturing them. But this movie, Prey at Night, was just so goddamn stupid. Every event that was made in this movie could have been avoided if they had just been smart in their thinking. These characters that died deserved to die, and the characters that survived also deserved to die because of how stupid they were.
Number 3.
When I'm sitting there in the theater and the thought process of a movie ends up being, oh, please let me have to go use the bathroom so I can leave this movie for a few minutes, you know your movie is pretty bad. And The Predator is pretty downright terrible. I don't understand how an actor that was in the original Predator movie could make a Predator movie worse than Alien vs. Predator Requiem. At least that movie spared us from a lot of its stupidity by not letting us see half the film. This, we were not spared any of that. We saw every goddamn stupid ass moment in the film. Olivia Munn's character did not make any sense. She goes from teacher to game hunter to predator race expert all in the span of like 2-3 days, whatever it was. It doesn't make sense. The movie had very little humor. It took itself way too seriously. It was just a boring film all around, and once again, it's hoping there's a sequel that it can make the payoff for what occurred in this movie occur there, and there is nothing worse than a friggin' movie made just to lead into the sequel. First, you have to make a complete story that works before you can sequel bait.
Number 2.
You know, it's funny, we keep saying we want a movie on Black Widow from the MCU. We get a movie that I thought originally was going to be a Black Widow movie, but it wasn't. It was just another movie on a Russian spy, which was with Jennifer Lawrence, Red Sparrow. If you're going to make a movie about a spy thriller, you need 2 vital ingredients in your film: espionage and suspense. Guess what was missing from Red Sparrow? Like, an hour goes by and there is nothing happening in this film. Then it's all this one-sided film of Russia bad, America good, because all the Russian characters are bad guys, they're evil, they're out for themselves, they're out to just take over the world, essentially. The American characters are all good and innocent people who want to help everyone. They want to stop the Russians from taking over the world. The guy that is the main character, he wants to help Jennifer Lawrence and blah, 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 blah. It was a load of crap. Nothing happened the entire film. There was no payoff, because when the ending finally comes, you're not excited that something has happened. You're like, yes, this movie is over. Yes. Complete and utter waste of time. And yet, there's still one more worse.
Number 1.
When I was watching Red Sparrow, my thoughts were, oh, nothing's going to be worse than this movie of the year. And then I saw Gotti, and Gotti said, hold my beer. It was basically like watching Wikipedia the movie on Gotti. The movie would start, you had one thing occur, Then it would go to a news report about said event. Then it would go to like 1979, have some other thing happen. Then it would go to an actual news report that talked about that scene. Then go to like 1981, then we'd have this scene for 90 seconds. Then another news report. 1982, have another scene, another news report. 1984, news report. 1985, the news report. And the whole movie was like this. In fact, John Gotti actually dies like a half hour before the movie even ends. It was just like they took the key events of his life and put them in movie form and had no other movie on there except like this like subplot of Gotti in prison talking to his son who might be going to prison and covering the events like that as if he's telling his son his whole life story. It didn't work. It didn't make sense. The movie had no plot whatsoever because it was just moving such a fast pace. They decided to just cover his entire life story, it seemed like, instead of actually taking a little moment and focusing a film on that aspect. It covered everything. He's in prison like an hour into the movie, when he's actually thrown in prison for the rest of his life. How is that even interesting? John Travolta clearly went for a paycheck, although it looked like he kind of was the only one trying. Everyone else there was like, oh boy, yeah, we're here to collect a paycheck, so let's just half-ass it, let's just do whatever we can do to get through the day because this movie sucks, blah, blah, blah. Gotti is a complete mess of a film. If you want to see how not to make a movie, watch Gotti. If you want to see what a movie is made based off Wikipedia, go check out Gotti. All others, do not waste your time with this crap. That was my list for 2018 on the worst movies of the year. What is your worst movie list? What are you looking forward to in 2019? Let me know in the comments, and until next year, bye.